You will need 8 female quick disconnect terminals and 4 male terminals. Using this part number, you could get these at Radio Shack, or you could get them at any electronic parts store. Ask for a 1/4 inch insulated male and female quick disconnect terminals. You could use a heavy-duty extension cord or an old appliance cord like this. And you're going to need 4 female quick disconnect terminals. Take 2 wires like these, one black and one white, and strip the ends. And using a good crimping tool, crimp 4 female terminals on the 2 wires. Cut the insulation on the middle to expose the bare wires like this. Strip the 2 ends of the wires on the cord. You will need to solder one of the wires to one of the legs and the other wire to the other leg. When you finish soldering them, it should look like this. Then put electrical tape to insulate the connections. The test cord is done. Now we have to work on the wire harness of the motor. Disconnect the washer from the wall outlet and open the controls panel. Take the wiring schematic and put it on a safe place. You will need to isolate the following wires going to the motor. The yellow, the red, the blue, and the white. These are solid colors, okay? You need to take a wire cutter and cut them like this. Now just make sure you got the right wires, okay? They're solid. Yellow, red, blue, and white. Go ahead and separate the wires. We're going to work on the 4 wires going to the motor first. You will need to strip the end of the wires and crimp the 4 male terminals on the wires like this. Make sure to use a good crimping tool so you will do a good job. Go ahead and strip the end of the wires going to the timer like this. And crimp the 4 remaining female terminals on the wires. Make sure that you do a good job when you crimp each one of the terminals to the wires, okay? This is the way that it should look when you finish crimping the terminals. 4 male terminals going to the motor and 4 female terminals going to the timer. This is the way that you need to connect the test cord to the wires going to the motor for the motor to run counterclockwise or for the washer to agitate. Connect the yellow and the blue wires from the motor to the white wires on the test cord. And connect the white and red wires from the motor to the black wires on the test cord. Like this. Open the door on the washer and add some water with a bucket. We don't want the washer to agitate empty. If the motor is good, when you connect the test cord on the wall outlet, the washer is supposed to start agitating. Let the washer agitate for about 20 minutes. Then unplug the test cord. Leave it unplugged for about a minute and plug it back again. If the motor starts with no problem, the motor should be okay. Let's try it on spin. Disconnect the test cord from the wall outlet. This is the way that you need to connect the test cord to the wire from the motor for the motor to run clockwise and the washer to spin. Connect the yellow and the white wires from the motor to the white wires on the test cord. And the red and blue wires from the motor to the black wires on the test cord. Like this. If the motor is good, when you connect the test cord to the wall outlet, the motor is going to start running clockwise and the washer is going to start draining the water. When the washer is done draining, disconnect the test cord from the wall outlet, wait 5 seconds, connect it back on, and the washer is supposed to start spinning. If you want to see if the motor overheats or not, let it run for about 20 minutes on the spin cycle. Then unplug it. Let it rest for a minute, then plug it back in again. If the motor starts with no problem and the washer starts spinning properly, the motor is okay. Disconnect the washer from the wall outlet. Connect the wires to each other and close the controls panel. If the motor doesn't do everything I showed you in the video, the motor is bad and you need to replace it. Disconnect the washer from the wall outlet. Turn the water faucets off. Put a towel under the fill hoses to catch any water drips and remove the fill hoses. Move the towel under the drain hose to catch any water drips and remove the drain hose. Bundle up the power cord to keep it out of the way. I have my washer on a table so I could film and show you what you need to do, but you could lay your washer right on the floor. Unhook the two pump holding clips like this. And remove the holding clip on the front. Grab the pump with the hoses still attached to it and take it out. Then tighten up the pump to the frame out of the way. And remove the other pump holding clip. Disconnect the wire harness from the start capacitor and from the motor. Remove the two screws from the holding clips. Use a flat screwdriver to unhook the two motor holding clips like this. And remove the motor holding clip on the front. Grab the motor and take it right out. Be careful you don't drop the motor. If you do, you could damage it, okay? You will need to remove the start capacitor, the rubber grommets, and the motor coupler from the old motor and put it on the new one. To install the plastic motor coupler piece, set it on the motor shaft, then use a socket wrench and a hammer to tap it in nice and easy until it's flush with the motor shaft. Transfer the rubber grommets and the start capacitor from the old motor to the new one. Put the motor on the mounting plate and wiggle it a little bit until it falls in place. Snap the rear motor mounting clip in place. Then install the front one. Set it in place, turn it around, put some pressure on the middle until it snaps in place. Then screw in the two holding screws. Connect the wire harness to the start capacitor and the motor. Make sure you push it all the way in to get a good connection. Make sure the motor shaft is in this position and use one of the clips to turn the pump impeller in this position. It'll be easier to mount the pump. Mount the pump holding clips on the motor like this. Untie the pump and set it on top of the motor shaft and then push it down to make sure that it's all the way in. Put pressure on the middle of the clip until it snaps in place. Then install the one on the back. Stand up the washer and install the two fill hoses and the drain hose. That was a way to remove and replace the motor.